They'll lynch you, but he did, and he laughs at
Hi everybody, Russ the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. I'm a little bit laggy, I do apologise. If you're new around here, where the hell have you been? But feel free to give us a subscribe. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff as you are well aware. Hope everybody's safe and well. Congratulations, another Friday done. Another Friday. We're getting through these weeks already, isn't it? Already the first week of January almost finished. As I said, hope you are all safe and well. Brentford at the weekend in the FA Cup. Lot to talk about as always on a Friday. We have Happy Say Friday. We can come on and give me your thoughts. We've got, we can talk about the fallout from the Leeds game. We've got the FA Cups game coming up. We've got transfers. We've got ins, outs. Obviously, we've got the sad passing of David Gold we can discuss as well. Loads of stuff we've got coming up. And loads of stuff we've got coming up today as well. So, obviously, we've got the show we're talking at the moment. Hello, welcome. We've also got... very shortly, maybe almost afterwards, or probably at 2 o'clock, we've got the David Moyes press conference. It's just finished now, so that will be coming up to later on this afternoon, so keep an eye out for that. We'll also have a little sort of profile show about 6 o'clock, talking about the exodus, the potential big squad exodus that's just about to happen. And then tonight we've got Irish Tommy on the Late Late Show, so check him out. So loads of stuff to talk about as per usual. There's never a dull moment when it comes to West Ham, as we all know. Let's see if we've got the chat. Let's have a look. Oh god, loads of people. Fall in, fall out. Like the Keystone Cops, judging by how poor we are this season. Very good, Peter. Yeah, of course, Gianluca Vialli sadly passed away this morning. 58, no age at all. And that was believed to be, obviously, a resurgence of his cancer, which was believed to have gone away, but it came back, unfortunately. And obviously, we offer our condolences to the Vialli family, as well as everyone who's been affected by that. Sometimes when these things happen, particularly the type of illness he had, they do conjure up a lot of feelings for people who've lost loved ones to that horrible illness, and obviously, reach out and chat to people. You know what I mean? Don't if you're feeling down because of it, these things do tend to happen. Feel free to. Chat to us, drop us an email, we'll have a chat with you as well, or drop us a WhatsApp if you're part of the group. Anyway, sad news with gentleman on for the pitch, was a lovely man, definitely sad news, and obviously him and Vialli and David Gold, Vialli and David Gold both passing in a few days of each other. It has been a bad week, a few weeks in football, it has been indeed. Shame the under-21s are playing away at Everton tonight, as it would have been a chance to play a few against Brentford. Yeah, I mean, that's something we can talk about as well, What type of side do you think we're going to be putting out against Brentford at the weekend? For me, I'm not... what's the word? I'm not really bothered about the FA Cup this year now. I've mentioned it before, I think, with the Carroll Cup, so many big teams, so many big London teams, the likes of Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, all getting knocked out at very, very early stages. I think it's going to be bloody tricky to do anything, really, in the FA Cup. And I think with our precarious position in the Premier League at the moment, I think priorities is the Premier League survival, firstly, and then the second one would be the conference. I think it's roughly the same amount of games, if I'm right, to win the conference as it is to win the FA Cup. And obviously with the conference, we're relatively, we're one of the favourites. So, yeah. So I think it's conference or bust, really, with us. Right, what else we got? A few might be in the squad tomorrow. Happy Hammer, hope you're well. Has a chance to try something different. He won't know. It won't happen. He's too stubborn. Flying pigs, a waste of bacon, chops and ribs. Just seen Matt one flying past. Everyone's talking to each other. It is indeed. Irish Tommy's in the house as well. Mandy's here. I can see a win coming. Oh, can you really? Evening, Alan. Richard's here. Jesus, loads of us. Gemma, hope you're well. Steve's in. Nice to see you, Steve. See you for a while. Artel, Vialli was an extraordinary man. I always really liked him. Sad to hear of his death. Scored with him bum once. He scored with him, or he scored with his bum once, I think. I totally agree. Play under their own teams and know how to win. They certainly do. something ridiculous. Like, was it 8 or 10 in a row, something like that? Usual suspects. Hope you're well, my friends. Jesus, loads of people here today. Doesn't look like we have much to look forward to this season, so it'd be nice to go on a cup dream. We still got the Europa. We still got the Europa League, Europa Conference League. Don't worry about that. Okaflex been recalled. He's good for us, thinking he can be one of the future. Possibly, Jake. We talk about that this afternoon. The club announced recalling Okaflex, Dan Chesters, and Thierry Neves from their respective loans yesterday. So that's interesting. What does that mean? It means they're brought back to have a look at and maybe get involved at that team. Maybe it's to improve the under-21s again, because they've all gone out on loan. The under-21s have been shit, but the under-18s have been good. Maybe it's to pad them back out again. Who knows? A lot of people will pass if we actually won a match. We'll pass it indeed. Back Moyes to turn things around. Fair enough. Everyone's talking to each other. Nice to see. As I said, on a Friday, we do a Have You Say Friday. I haven't settled this up yet, but I will do now. If you want to give us a call, which I'm sure some of you do, some of you don't. Fair enough if you don't. But there's two ways you can do. If you've got a good internet connection, you can use the link, which I'm going to post now, which you can go in via your phone, and you can come on screen if you wish. Or alternatively, what we can do, when I've figured out my screens, this is all changed again. Where's that? That's that one, and then, sorry, you're going to see a little bit behind the scenes here. Let me just do this, and then do that, and then mute screen. Yes, it. That's it. There we go. Or you can call. As well, which I'm going to put the number up there. Actually, we do it as a ticker. There we go. And if you want to call us, feel free. We can chinwag, and we can have a good old laugh. As I said, Irish Tommy tonight, 10 o'clock. He is talking about the board carrying the can for Moyes' failures. Woo! Straight in there, Tommy. Good afternoon, sir. Chuck, nice to see you. Not been in a live show for ages. You haven't, Chuck. Nice to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. Plenty to talk about. Obviously, we've had the Leeds game. We've had we had Brentford last weekend. We had the Leeds game on Wednesday. Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, my brain's gone to mush. I'm still on Orlando time. We had. Where's my ears? I got Mickey ears. I got custom made West Ham Mickey ears. I wasn't aware the person was blind. It seemed when they made them. But there we are. We will win this game, and that's the problem. This is history repeating itself. Avram Graham kept his job because he was doing well in cups. Ooh. Russ, do you know what? It went. The cold went, and then as soon as I got back off the plane from Orlando, did I mention I went to Orlando for 3 weeks? It came back. Honestly, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I think it's the blame of the board, the player. To me, right, and this is one thing I don't understand about football. That's the one issue with football compared to every other industry. If people aren't performing, they get chucked out, or they lose their jobs, or they get performance managed out of a role. Moyes never said to someone, "Oh, definitely, you do not defend that goal. You do not score. You do not beat yourself playing football at Antonio." He doesn't do it. He puts out a team that he thinks are going to win. It's a team of, it's very rare that we've had. Usually, you have one or two players out of form. I think about 2/3 of our squad have been out of form this year, and that's the issue. And it's the manager that always gets a can, isn't it? Always gets a can. Think that it's Moyes' time to go, sadly, as much as I think he's been one of the best managers. Yeah, I agree. In a long time, he deserves to be remembered for last, not this one. Totally agree. Even without Tony, Brentford are lethal. They are. However, I don't want him to go if the board bringing in someone like Deitch. We need to show ambition with someone like Tuchel. Tuchel is the Champions League David Moyes, though. So if you're looking at football, if you're looking at the big issue with Moyes by people like some people who are very critical about him, is the football. Tuchel's going to give you the same football. Don't forget, he ruined Lukaku when he came back. He doesn't play with a striker. He plays Havertz as a false nine. So you're not going to get any difference with Tuchel, to be honest. I really think David Moyes can sort things out. We need an under-the-radar young manager, big names, big pressure. Yeah, but you could do something like Southampton and get Nathan Jones in, and it's absolutely gone to pot, innit? It hasn't worked with Nathan Jones, and he's someone that I've seen, on Facebook and on Twitter when they announced the Southampton appointment of Nathan Jones. People go, bugger, we should have got him. He ain't dug up any trees, and he had the 6-week period of the World Cup, which is again what people were saying. We should get a manager in before the World Cup, give him 6 weeks to sort it out. Nathan Jones had that, it didn't work. Lopetegui from Wolves, that hasn't worked either at the moment. So it's whereas someone like Unai Emery has. So it is what it is. What Moyes does do, Russ, is put Kira at left back. But he tried something different, man, didn't he? We've been crying out, do something different. He's done it and it ain't worked. It could have worked. Kira could have played really well at left back, but it hadn't. And where I think previously we've tried new things and it has worked, it's not worked this year. So I'm thinking, like, for example, last year he played Pablo Fornals at left wing back, who was really good. He was playing really well in that position. But no, it hasn't worked. Ain't coming. He wants Champions League. Potts run over it. Totally agree. So, you can forget about Potts. You forget against Tuchel. That brings you down to another level. So it is going to be the likes of Deitch. It is going to be the likes of, Ralph Husala. I've seen linked. People will be talking about him. He fouled at Southampton, and he was, I don't think he's the right person. There's a few I wouldn't mind Graham Potter, but he's at Chelsea, but they'll sack him soon. Every team has Moyes figured out, and he has absolutely no plan B. That's, to me, the point, Gemma. He has played the same way for the last 2.5 years. So it's almost like you can bet your dollar how he's going to play. And like I'm thinking Brentford last week. I'm thinking Crystal Palace. They know how to play West Ham at London Stadium. You just give us the ball. Give us the ball, stand behind, and stand with 10 men behind the ball, and just hit us in the counter-attack. That's what we've been doing to teams the last 2.5 years, and they reversed it. They're actually showing, in the way I see it, they're showing us the respect and giving us the ball because they know what we can do on the counter-attack, and we haven't got a plan B. I suppose he transitioned this season to be better, not worse, was the objective. I totally agree. It's got to the point when I thought even Dyche could well be a better bet. West Ham are broken and Moyes can't fix it. Graham Potter will be free soon, indeed. Hoping things can improve now. We've scored. Open play, finally Skamaka. We are talks with Harry Potter, hoping he can sprinkle some magic on the club. Right, let's bring in, we've got, where is it? Let me sort this out. Sorry, 2 seconds, mate. We have West Ham faithful. Let me bring him in. Where is he? Sorry. I'm trying to figure out a moment. How you doing, man?
How you doing, mate? You alright?
I'm good. How are you? Happy New Year, mate.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas and all that stuff.
Indeed. So, what do you want to talk about?
Moyes is the hot topic, isn't it?
Yep.
We had a small conversation about the managerial positions before the World Cup, weren't it?
Yeah, it would have been before the World Cup, mate, yeah.
And I don't know if you've heard the same thing, but I believe Gonzo was going on about how Sullivan is becoming a bit of a repellent for decent managers.
I think Charlie's it's all hearsay, isn't it? It's all hearsay.
Yeah.
I think he's always been a spiky owner when he was at Birmingham, and so that's nothing new. It's nothing new in my opinion. So it's a spiky. I think obviously the sad passing of DG in the week that may increase his spikiness in that I don't even want to talk about where the club's going from an ownership perspective because the lad's not even the gent's not even buried yet. But you're thinking maybe that could be an issue. But I don't think it's necessarily. I think he's always been a repellent, So you look back at maybe looking at we were looking at Benitez a long time ago and various others, and he didn't, and they didn't join us, and that could be the reason. But I think it's coming up now as part of the agenda. But I don't think it's anything new, to be honest, Tom.
What stresses me out about it though is you can kind of understand it when we weren't achieving anything, and people will say we've overachieved over the past 2 years. But I think I won't knock the board. They backed David Moyes in the summer. There's question marks on who was bought by who. But that's not what we're here to talk about. The way I see it, though, is I would have thought that with Sullivan publicly and the board publicly showing that they're willing to back the manager with decent money as well. We didn't go out and buy nobodies, did we? Skamaka was doing well in Syria. Paqueta was doing well in Ligue 1. Like, we bought decent players. Tilo Kehrer come from PSG, for crying out loud. He didn't even look like he could kick a ball the other night.
No.
It was absolutely shocking.
No,
but what
right.
I would have thought, though, you would have thought that we would have been able to prize Emre over to come to West Ham over him going to Aston Villa. Now, that's another thing that I've heard quite recently, is that he literally chose Aston Villa over us. But like you said, it's just hearsay. I don't work in the club. But you don't know. I mean, you don't know. But it's easy to believe, isn't it?
It is, but I think it's the same. It's the same issue when you look at things like transfers. So, like the summer transfer window, I kept a tally. We had 168 people we were linked with. That is bullshit, isn't it? I mean, that's basically two-thirds of the Premier League. And I think the trouble is, because people see that we've been linked with these players, they go, "Oh, we didn't get." I really think the whole. Unless you get a few good sources came up about Unai Emery, I think that is all bullshit, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, if you look at him, for example, with the transfers, look at Onana. Who went to Everton. There was reports left, right, and centre that we were trying to get him, and we failed. I don't know for what reason.
And that was based on his requests from his agent, who is his sister, apparently. So that was quite. We
don't want another situation like that, do we?
No, so you don't. So actually, fair play, and actually,
I was ill-informed in that respect.
But it's sort of similarly like Boubacar Kamara, who was from Marseille. He went to Aston Villa. Yep. He was on, he got a contract of 180 grand a week. He's 21, so actually, I think sometimes people sort of just have this sort of
180 grand at 21.
That's what he's on. That's what he's on.
Fucking ridiculous.
It's
language, sorry, but
yes, it's like Diego Carlos from who went from Sevilla to Villa. He's on 200 grand a week, and he did his cruciate ligament, didn't he? About 2 or 3 weeks. He's out for the season. So look. For me, I was talking to someone about it the other day. I think the trouble is we did all our business quite late on in the transfer window, so they never had a pre-season, like a proper pre-season, and that was the issue. And I think we brought in a lot of players. We brought in some quality players, as you said, and it's just taken them more time than I think people had assumed to blend into the side, and then when you're not playing well, it's even more so, because then they haven't got the time to gel into the side, because
they've just got to get on with it.
Exactly, it's getting worse and worse and worse, the situation. That being said, on Wednesday, the likes of Paqueta getting his first goal, Skamaka, that's all it took for Skamaka to get his first goal, and then he looked mustard. I mean, he was mustard on Wednesday, I thought.
Paqueta, he's a joy to watch, isn't he? Even though he didn't win, I was so happy with his performance. Like, even though he only scored a penalty, he didn't put a foot wrong, really, did he? He put himself about, which is what us West Ham fans love to see. A little bit of aggression, a little bit of physicality. Just don't overstep the mark. That's what we like, do you know what I mean? And he does that, and on top of that, he's got the skill and the flair to go with it. I genuinely hope he starts to kick on from here. Yeah. I was a little bit annoyed that Moyes took off Skamaka when he did.
Yeah.
I think I'm not alone on that one. I think there's quite a few people that was. And Antonio didn't offer much after, though, did he? He was more. I don't know. I wouldn't want to believe it, but when we were 2-1 up, a lot of people have been saying that he was playing for the draw.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't think it was a 2-1. I think when we was 2-1 up, I thought I could see his reasoning behind it. It just didn't work out. I could see him taking off Skamaka, bringing Antonio on, tightening up a little bit, holding on to the lead, and we could hit him on the counter attack. Then they scored, and it's like, then that's buggered up the thing. I was surprised if anyone when Skamaka came off, because I thought he was playing really well, and
he was playing very well.
they had their centre backs were quite old school, and I think once he got that goal, you see his chest puffing up, and then I think you'd have probably seen something special for him. But it happened, and
was very good though.
Great goal.
It was a very good goal, man.
He did.
I was watching it with my son, and I swear to God, you would have thought it was a girl screaming.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a goal!
Yeah,
I couldn't react to goals. It's good to see. It's good to see both of them score the other night, and hopefully, I'm always out. Yeah, I'm open about it. I don't got all the I's and cross the T's. I'm always out, but. In the same sense, the tables can turn within a couple of games. If we win 3 or 4 games, I won't necessarily be like, I want him out of my club. I might dislike him, but yeah, I would hold on to him if he started to pick up performances. But I think this is what a lot of people are getting stressed about. That we've had now half a season. The players have been around the manager for half a season, and the manager doesn't seem to be playing to either of the best players that we've invested our money in strengths. Like you would have thought him going to the World Cup and watching Brazil, he would have adopted more of Paqueta's role for like what he had for Brazil, right?
Tom, well, to be honest, Tom, he has, isn't he? I mean, he's gone. I mean, you know, to be honest, he has. Game. I mean, Paqueta, he's been playing as a 10. Comes back from the World Cup, and for the last 2 games, the Brentford game and the Leeds game, he played in the as the 8. So he has. Yeah. And to be honest, he did that with Tilo Kehrer as well. You know, when Tilo Kehrer he was playing as a centre back, we were all saying, "Oh, why doesn't he play right back?" Then Germany play England in the friendly at Wembley. He plays really good as a right back. Moyes then puts him as a right back. So he is. But I know what you mean. It's just you think you think it would have been a little bit more.
I just would have thought. I don't know. Everything just seems a little bit lazy tactically. Seems very repeated. Like we've seen West Ham play. Like you said before, I come on. When West Ham get given the ball and they have to kick the ball around and play football, we're lost. Yeah. We're lost. We can sit behind the ball. We can sit 10 men behind the ball and break on the counter-attack. We're great at that. But once we've got the ball, we don't know what to do. And the worst thing about it is players like Ben Rama, which I was disappointed he got dropped, but I was happy with Fornals' performance the other night. Fornals, we needed that little bit of headless chicken running. Do you know what I mean? Although he didn't have his shooting boots on, he played well. He could have scored a couple of goals, really, if he was on form. Easily, Fornals could have got a couple of goals. But I just think the tactics just ain't quite there at the moment. We look like we shit ourselves defensively after time.
I think we're bereft of confidence at the moment.
Yeah, no,
we are, and the fact is, the likes of Skamaka, Paqueta, Ben Rama, you know, these players, Bowen, these players are confidence players. They are, you know, they're not old school like Craig Dawson. If he's confident or not, will put in a 6 or 7 out of 10. Regardless, and Soufal will play, run his heart out. And to be honest, Thomas Souček, well, you know, these are old school. I consider these to be old school players, sort of the newer school player, the likes of Skamaka and stuff. They need that confidence. They just do. And when you're down the bottom, people say, you know, we do make your own luck, and you know, I think we were lucky. There was a period of obviously Moisey playing that side playing very well for the last 2.5 years. But actually, I think we had a lot of luck as well, and it went our way because it always does. And for me, it starts and ends with the defence. I think that defence needs tightening up. It needs tightening up, and then at least that takes the pressure off the forward line needing to score to get something out of the game. If you're getting a clean sheet, if they're not even touching the, you know, I mean, I remember, you know, we were shutting teams out completely and then grabbing like a 1 or 2 nils, and that gives them they're not pressured, you know. If they're, you know, and it seems, I know they're professional football players, but it's that extra worry, you know. It's like the other day with Paqueta and the free and the penalty. It's like, well, we're 1-0 down. It's like, oh god, and you know, it took him.
And if he misses, the confidence is going to
exactly, and that happened with Bowen at Liverpool and stuff like that. And so it's to me that's a huge issue. And I think, you know, with Naif back in the squad now, you know, by all accounts Zuma's not far away. I think Zuma will be back.
Impressive.
He is a good player. he's a good player. He's a great player now. I think him and Zuma as a two in the middle would be great.
Yeah.
I think Zuma will be back for the Wolves game by all accounts, which was always the plan, I think. So, and then that goes,
What I want to know is, what are we doing with Emerson? What are we doing with him? Like, we would rather play a right back at left back.
Yeah, well, I think maybe. Then sometimes
I know. Maybe it was just trying something different. But when you've got a perfectly good, I know Emerson's a left wing back, but he's got to be capable of playing left back. Tila Kira looked lost, especially in that first half. I wasn't a happy bunny.
But the thing is, they would have done this in training. And so and so you're thinking if he wasn't confident in it, if he wasn't happy in that position, they would have put fast wingers against him as well. If he wasn't doing, they wouldn't have put him in that thing. But he just like a rabbit in headlights, which is very unusual for a full international to be doing that. But they tried it and it didn't work. It could have flipped and been amazing. I remember we've put Soufal on the left before. I remember we put Pablo Fornal's left wing back. We put Ryan Fredericks left back and left wing back when he was at the club, and it worked. And so the assumption, I think maybe if that experiment was done 18 months ago or 12 months ago, it would have paid off, but it just didn't. And it's just everything Moyes is trying to do at the moment isn't paying off, unfortunately.
My main issue is, look, I don't like Tila Kira. I was very happy with him when he joined. I thought his attributes, I thought he could work well in the West Ham side. I just didn't understand the logic behind it when you got a perfectly good left back there in Emerson. And as well, let's be real, Emerson's got one yellow card to his name this season, and that's probably the only mistake he's made. Tilo Kehrer is giving away penalties. He's giving his fouls outside the box, left, right, and centre. I don't understand why he keeps on persisting with him. It was like it's very similar to the Thomas Souček debate. People want Downs instead of Souček. Against Brentford, he was up next to Schumacher and Bowen up front, pushing up high. I was surprised. It was something different. It was more like the Fellaini type play, and it could work. It's just I think Souček needs time to get used to playing like that further forward, because Souček can score goals. He can head it in the back of the net, and he has got a long shot on him. Even though we ain't seen it, I've spoken to people from Czech, and they said one of his best attributes when he was at Slavia was his long-range shooting. So he can have a go from far. It may be just incorporating, rather than being that defensive player, to more that attacking player. Maybe that time is needed, but who knows? Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we had Declan Rice playing a more defensive role at Leeds game made a massive difference. And I think that to me, as much as Declan wants to be this box-to-box player, we know when he goes to Chelsea or Man City or Real Madrid or wherever he goes, he ain't going to be a box-to-box player. He's going to go in and play as a CDM and sit in front of the back four. So actually, just do that. You've got it in your locker, fair play. You've got it in your locker, and that's great that you can. And it's good that you've got the ball. We can push forward, but you can act as that quarterback role and ping balls around and just sit there. And we looked a lot more. Although we conceded a couple of goals, we did look a little bit better than we have done defensively, and I think that to me is critical. It's critical going forward.
I think having Dawson in the side, no disrespect to Dawson, I love Big Dawson. You got to love Craig Dawson, but I think he is literally a utility player that's just there to get rid of anything that comes in the box. If he gets one-on-one with a striker, he's in trouble. So having Declan Rice there gives Craig Dawson that extra bit of time to get his positioning right, and that's the theory I have. And when Declan Rice pushes up forwards, I've seen it, especially in the Arsenal game, he did it a couple of times. In the Brentford game, he did it a couple of times. He finds himself on the edge of the box. He'll either pass it sideways or try to cross-field pass it to Soufal, and it will go out.
Yeah.
And these are kind of things that you would expect for someone, because Declan Rice has amazing passing ability. You've seen him knock it from one end of the field to the other, and he's landed on a sixpence. But in certain situations, especially going forward, he hasn't got that eye for, he can't see foresee where the striker's going to run to make it a threading ball or anything like that. And most of the time, he's quite, without being disrespectful to the lad, he's a bit useless in the final third.
Ooh, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, he's got. I mean, he's. I know what you mean. He does lose. He does. I mean, he's shooting. He did have his shooting boots on against Leeds, that's for sure. But he tried.
Don't get me wrong. He's got the odd banger in his closet.
Yeah,
he has. I'm just talking about in the passing sense. In the past, like I said, I don't mean to do. There's a lot of people that love Declan Rice. He's my favourite West Ham player. My son's got Rice on the back of his West Ham shirt. But when it comes to going forward, I don't feel like he offers that much.
Okay. Fair enough, mate. Tom, I'm going to let you go, man. Thank you very much.
You enjoy your afternoon. I'll carry on watching the show.
All right, mate. Take care.
Next after me, yeah? Take care. Come on your eyes.
Come on your eyes. There he is, Tom from the West Ham Faithful. Check that out on his YouTube channel. Right, let's go for some comments. There's been loads. I apologise. Let's just go through. Moyes will turn it around. They sweat. We'll win the Conference Club and finish 10th. Michael, I'm liking your style. The thing that annoys me with Moyes is that he always used the same team. Used to play, loves to play Souček, but when Downs has played, one of the game players who fights for the badge, keeps Souček in the team. Although, it's fair play. He dropped him for the Brentford game. Brought him back in, but as Tom was alluding to, he played a more advanced role, and Deck sat back and it allowed Paqueta a bit more time. It worked. It did work, in my opinion. The Feb fixtures frighten me. Not so much February. It's the January ones that worry me, because when we play the bigger teams, particularly at home, the performances are usually a bit better. It's when we play them away is what worries me. Post Moyes, I would love to see Postecoglou from Celtic won't release if West Ham were to approach, but they said they won't get an in-contract manager. Totally agree. Well, I mean, if Graham Potter gets sacked from Chelsea, Emery said he would get bored at West Ham. Did he though? I think the board are the problem with the managers. They are so stingy and won't pay every season for transfers. When they do, it'll be minimal money. Well, I mean, the trouble is, for both managers, if we look over the last, say, 3 sets of managers, look under Slav, look under Pellegrini and Moyes. Moyes spent £200 million, £180 million in the summer. Plus, before they bought the likes of Bowen and Souček for reasonable money. Pellegrini spent 200 million quid one summer with the likes of Haller and Anderson. Bilic, when we moved to the London Stadium, had bought in 9 players. I think the season before he bought in 7 players as well. So the money's available, but I think it's a combination of the both. They have said money's available. What we've led to believe, they have said money is available if good deals can be made. And I think striker was the area they're looking at. But anyway, Onana hasn't pulled up any trees. Not really. Neither's the likes of Jeremy and Ngakia leaving. He never pulled up any trees. The likes of people think about Grady in Ghana. Didn't really pull up any trees since he's left. Onana, you go for a few of them. A few have. A few of his the transfers particularly. Some of them come and good, but we don't know. We never really know how far along the line we are with these things, do we? Onana, we were quite far along the line by what we believe, but it was the demands by his agent, who are his family. And Everton were desperate, so they got him in. We needed that bounce of a new manager for Everton and Moyes, but we are not going to go get it. So let's hope Moyes gets it right. Indeed. I mean, as I said, for me, whoever's in the dugout, whoever's on the pitch, get my full support when it's match day. Regardless of what I think about them, regardless of, if they're wearing a West Ham shirt, if they're in the dugout, they get my full support on match day. How is a different league to Moyes? Maybe. I mean, but again, he's taken time to adjust. We'll see how Newcastle do. We'll see how Newcastle do when they start spending money. That's the trouble. They haven't spent massive amounts of money. Moyes has spent a big lot. Maybe there's certain managers who don't work well with a big budget. It'd be interesting to see what Eddie Howe does when they actually can start spending money, and they will be bringing in, because they will need to bring in players. The fact that they've got Ronaldo, if they get the Champions League, how's that going to work with Eddie Howe? Is Eddie Howe going to be a strong enough manager? Ten Hag couldn't work with Ronaldo. Several other managers couldn't work with Ronaldo. Well, can Eddie Howe work with superstars? I don't think so. Hey, you've got someone on the show. We do. Would Newcastle be playing like that under Moyes? Who knows? But don't forget, we were playing. We've done all right under Moyes, haven't we? Recently, not recently, but last couple of seasons, got into Europe, qualified for Europe in the league position for the first time ever in consecutive years, consecutive top 8s. Top flight finishes for the first time ever in our history. Scored in every Premier League home, every league home goal, every league home game last season, which was the first time ever we've done it since 1980. But in the top flight since 1926. Good stats. If we don't get anyone in, can we please check they aren't injury prone like most of the players? And we do indeed. Moist Everton once Pat Frank gets sacked. I don't think it's going to happen. Arnold looks a decent player, but then we wouldn't have signed Pat Man. You totally agree. Do Brian have a better squad? Well, I mean, everyone talks about Graham Potter. Actually, they've improved since he's left, to be fair. How would Newcastle be playing now if they had been playing European football? Indeed, good point. I honestly think we should be questioning Moises' signings. Never mind his god awful MOT. Here is the thing that we don't as fans here. Hope is the thing that we don't have as fans at the moment. Yep, fair enough. Right, let's scroll down. Why we gave Antonio a 3.5-year deal is ridiculous. Probably was, but I mean, 18 months ago, when we offered him that deal, was it a year or so ago? He was bagging him in. He just became our Premier League top goal scorer of all time. But in the last year, he's fallen off a cliff. Same as Bowen, same as Souček, same as Soufal, same as Cresswell, same as I said Bowen, but same as 2/3 of our squad. And I think we'd be able to cope with it. Not sure what Mark's role involves. If he can't pep us up, then not sure who could. Mark is basically, his thing is doing all pies. And in a Venn diagram of everything he reckoned that he was being involved in. And it literally is everything. He is involved in the recruitment. He's involved in youth development in the academy. He's involved in the player relations with the manager. Best thing to do is go and watch Arsenal, the Arsenal documentary, on Amazon. I love it. I can't put someone put it in the chat anyway. And watch the role Edu plays in that. So Edu is in every scene, and he's a sporting director for Arsenal. So literally, he's in the transfer negotiations. He's in the discussion about Aubameyang getting rid of him and talking to his agents. He's in the discussion on training. He's walking around the training ground and stuff like that. Mark my words. The employment of Mark Noble will really, really benefit the club, no doubt. When he left as captain, 18 years, that made a massive hole. It really did. The team spirit, all that went, because he was central. He didn't play much, we know, but as club captain, he brought that squad together. He brought that club together, and him coming back in is brilliant. He is brilliant for what we need. We need that team spirit back. You saw the huddle against Leeds. I've been crying out for us to do a huddle. And Fab went, it's to prove that we were together as a unit. Is that a coincidence that 2 days after Mark Nobles came back in that we've done a big huddle? I don't think so. He's been in the dressing room giving Church William team talks. Indeed. Simon, good afternoon to you. Hope you're well. Corday, last in the Where's Wally poster. Indeed, it's crazy. Having a look at our main fixtures and try and work out where necessary points are coming from. We could do that, actually. Might do that too. On paper, a decent side. Just that final ball and cutting edge seems to. And again, I talk about it a lot. Fine margins. It is fine margins. We were. So go back pre this awful run we've been on, we would, and go back and listen to our analysis. We won the game, but we should have won it by a lot more. Our shooting boots weren't on, but we were getting 6 chances and we were converting 1. Now we're not. Now we get 6 chances and not converting them. You think back, and again, you can split hairs, and you've got Bowen missing a penalty at Liverpool. You've got the whole Chelsea debacle. You've got times where we've literally just hit the post. If one of them went in, if another point, it'd be a different situation. It really would do. It's just it baffles me how we've just been so unlucky this season. It's been ridiculous. Kieran looks like the type of player, judging how hesitant he was to need a regular run. Yep, I totally agree. John, good to have you back, Russ, the voice of reason. There we go. That's because Moyes doesn't breed or engender confidence in anyone. I'm thinking a win, Wolves win, and a couple of draws coming up. No, I think you're probably right. Let's just go down a little bit. Wolves are better than under the new manager. Not getting the points, though, are they? You can be better, but you're not getting the points. And we'll see what happens with that. We all know Duncan, manager, will be in charge against us, scaring the players into putting on a show. Right. Moisey wants to go for the FA Cup. Isn't that so risky given our league form? In about 45 minutes, I'm putting up the press conference. And Moisey makes an interesting point about He's actually just put it. Oh, how annoying! He just put it out. I'm going to put it up anyway now. Anyway, I'll put that up later in about 20 minutes' time. But Moisey was saying how he would love to win the cup for the fans, and he knows that it would cement. This team's had a really good couple of years. Not this year, I know. It had a really good couple of years, and it needs something to hang its. We had the Europa League semi-final. We couldn't get to the final. That would have cemented that team as sort of in years going forward. We need that. We haven't from my age onwards. Technically, I was 4 or 5 when the boys of 85, 86, but we haven't had one since that. We haven't had a team. Before then you got the Anderlecht team. Before then you got the the Eintracht Frankfurt teams. You've got the cup winning teams. You haven't got European Cup winning teams as well. We haven't had that in the last 20 years, at least 30 years, maybe. We need that. We do have lots of fringe players, so do. Right, I'm going to zoom through some of these. So I apologise. Johnson's contract is impacting Moyes playing him. I totally agree. Masterstroke. Getting Moyes probably the only manager worse than getting Nathan Jones probably the only manager worse than Moyes. How many games does Lampard have left? Obviously they got Man United tonight, I think, on the telly. I'll be surprised. If he's manager by the time they play us. To be honest, but we'll see. Suja is giraffe. Training isn't the same as match play. Plus, we don't have any speedy wingers. We have no pace. Yep, no problem. Totally agree. Moyes is for favourite to Leeds. Yeah, I totally agree. We'll be better at left back at the hotel. Boom, boom. Joshua, hope you're well, my friends. Let me just zoom through everyone. Everyone's talking to each other, which is lovely to see. Bit surprised to see West Ham near the relegation zone. What's not working for West Ham this season? Well, I think we sort of explained it, really, to be fair. Wake up, Emery board. Yeah, I know. I was just trying to be funny. I know. Right, Danny Ings would be a good player to get. We spoke about that yesterday. Us, Southampton and Everton. Everton had a loan deal rejected by Villa for him. They're letting him go on a permanent deal. 30 though, and very injury prone. If we can get him for a few mil, I'll take that, to be honest. Because, the whole thing of taking off, I don't think Antonio is, he's lost it, I think, from that striker position. I'd be more than happy to him to come on as a left winger. Yeah, Bowen on the right, he's on the left, or, as an alternative to Bowen, maybe on the right. But I think you need that alternative. And then we've got Divine, but he's only 18, so I think someone like Danny Ings, I know he's he can be injury prone and stuff. He's got a good scoring record when he's fit. And a natural goal scorer. In the same ilk as when we had Javier Hernandez, and we never played to his strengths either. There's a guy we've the Lorente striker, Toffee, who we spoke about day before yesterday. We're linked with, who's, when you look at his stats, and they look at similar players. Scarmacker is someone he's often compared to. Could be a good one there. I truly believe the problem started with backroom staff leaving. I think the impacts of Stuart Pearce particularly. So I don't think we've, because defensively we've been poor. Was brilliant and faultless as number 8. Then we don't see it. Totally right. Cornell's a waste of money. Injury prone at Burnley, but then if he wasn't, he would have been all right, innit? I've seen reports stating Moyes is interested in Slabhead. There's Slabhead, there's Michael Keane, and people have turned their nose up to it. We turned our nose up to Craig Dawson, didn't we? Right, I'm going to move through here a little bit. They get my support. Can't understand why people want us to lose. They can say, no, I don't agree. I don't agree with that at all. Okafex is back. He is indeed. It's going to be interesting what side we put out for the Brentford game, because obviously then they become cup tied, so that devalues them if they're looking to leave. So it'd be interesting to see what happens and who he brings on. Russ, do you think we'll stay up under Moyes? Yes, I do. I think the fortunate thing is there are worse teams than us this season. Not the best excuse at all, but I think we're fortunate in the fact that we have worse teams than us. Budgie, hope you're well. GP, nice to see you, my friend. Moisey has given us 2 back-to-back European. Can't be compared, as he is starting to challenge top 4 now with super rich owners. Don't forget, we were challenging top 4 last season, weren't we, as well? And if we'd invested in January last year. I think if we bought 3 players in January last year and then bought 5 players this summer rather than 8 in the summer, I think you would have seen a different side, genuinely. And also, we have been unlucky. I know every team has injuries and stuff, but when you go out and our big sort of not marquee signing, my big strategy was right. We want Naya Figueres to partner Kurt Zuma. So we've been tracking Naya for 2 years. We finally get him. He then gets injured 20 minutes into his first match in the pre-season against Rangers. That made a massive impact because you can see him coming in now, how good a player he is. We watched him in Morocco for the World Cup. He's a quality player and he's going to bring a lot of, not just defensive, he's pacey, but it's his passing ability and then playing from the back, being able to put in a crossfield ball, 30-yard pinger. That's what he brings to the table, and I think you'll see a lot of difference there. Has more injuries than Jack Wilshere, and that's saying something indeed. I'm sorry, I don't need... Oh my God, Joshua. DJ Russie B is my name. Russ, you sound a little bit better, I'll be honest. I've had a few paracetamols. We'll fight them on the beaches. We can't fight them on the pitches. You're totally right. Are we playing to the new signing's strengths? Should we be adjusting to them, not Moyes' defensive tactics? Yeah. Also, because I think he's always been sort of a safety first approach manager. There's no denying that. I think Noble talks about it in his book and stuff. But and he's brought some really attack-minded players. So it is about changing the playing style as well. So there is a learning curve for him as well. And I just think it's too much too soon. Our league form's been poor for a year. It's not bad luck. I think I know it's been poor, Victor, but I think it's a bit of both. Honestly, you make your own luck. When we were flying high, the VAR decisions were going our way. Not all of them, because obviously we were in contention for Champions League and the Greedy Six got involved. But things were going our way. If we take a shot, it was hitting the right side of the post and going in. Passes were just... for me, it's like... It's not just going, and it's really annoying. Sorry, Russ. While Noble was on the playing staff, including our awful form, and I can see things improve, work well, and we buy 2 follow. You're right. And I can only see I think Zuma and Agad will work well together. I think we need to... You're totally right. I think we need to go out and buy some good fullbacks, or utilise the fullbacks we've got in the right positions. But it's not the play. But I think Noble, when he was involved in the team, and this is from experience. Obviously, during lockdown, I was still at the grounds, and I've never seen a tighter unit at West Ham since the early 90s. They were really tight. You could see the way they were, and that hasn't been the case at West Ham since he's left. Now he's come back. I really think he's going to be the one who's the glue, who's going to bring that unit back together. What, in essence, that we had the success with Moisey was because we were a unit, we were a team, band of brothers, that type of thing. Now, bringing new players in, you've got new personalities, and that has apparently, you read reports, the whole thing with, Paqueta is, he's a different type of player and different attitudes, and Skomaka has this sort of, he likens me to an Arnautovic player. He could probably be an arse as well. So maybe it's these guys trying to get them molded into the team ethos, and we've heard from various new signings across the years how Mark would take them, give them their WhatsApp group and make sure they're all sorted. Maybe that's what we need a bit more now, and then that gives Declan time to breathe, to become the club captain, take a little bit of pressure off him. So I think he's had a lot of pressure on him, to be honest. Didn't Wolves just win Everton and draw at Villa, but did they just lose to Man United as well? And they haven't been playing well. We have class on our side. You're totally right. We have a lot of players underperforming. And using Cornet, no. Apparently it's like his injury is something like the surgeon or his consultant. It's the first. He's only can think of 1 or 2 other times in 25 years that this injury he's got has happened. If players are not performing, they should be dropped. But if that's the case, we'll have no one playing, won't we? Sod the FA Cup, play the kids. We'll probably lose. I think Brentford will fancy it tomorrow. I think they'll fancy the FA Cup. They got to themselves to a situation. They probably hit the ceiling for this year for them. So actually, the Cup's probably a really realistic option. So Yeah, there we go. Gio from loves Ings. I love Ings. I think he's a great player, but he gets injured quite a lot. It's trouble, isn't it? We don't panic buys. Totally agree. We should go for Harry Kane. Yeah, go for it. Give some old strikers. Danny Ings. I absolutely loving this Red Bull approach to signings that Moyes promised. Danny Ings will make our age profile any better. Indeed, but I think if you smatter them. A smattering of experienced players does help. Okaflex didn't make it at Swansea, won't make it here. Okaflex played 17 games for Swansea this year in half a season. So, and he hasn't been. The club Swansea haven't given him back. We've asked them. We've basically said you're coming back here. So he was playing quite well at Swansea. The fact that Ings has been at says something. Yeah, well, I think new manager. With Moyes in charge, there will not be 3 worse teams, worse squads, but not worse teams. I hear you saying Bolt is looking for a club. Forest are getting results. Southampton look bad. Wolves should climb, and also Everton under a new manager. Don't think it's going to happen. Should Moyes change the captain? It's clear wants to leave. This must affect us. I don't think he does, Michael, because all that's showing is for me, Declan Rice has got ambition. I don't think. Who would he have instead? Who would be the manager instead? Who would be the captain instead? Dawson's not going to get run in the side when Zuma gets back. Zuma, Naif. Then I think, I actually think Declan Rice is the right manager, right person for the club. He just needs some support, I think, and Mark Noble will surprise that. Call off a start again in August. Taking it will do more damage than good. I agree. Oh God, so many comments. What Moyes needs to do is bring in Longelo back. That's the one that surprised me. He hasn't brought everyone else back apart from Longelo. Longelo's playing really well in Birmingham. I don't understand that. Only vocal player could be Soufal. Being out of the cup could be the best thing for us. League. I totally agree. I'm not fussed necessarily about the FA Cup this year. For me, it's about let's have a good. If we lose, let's lose with our dignity. Do you know what I mean? Rather than absolutely, I'm thinking back to Nottingham Forest when Big Fat Sam put all the kids out and we got Trouts. That's what we want. We want something which we can then build upon. Even if it was like we go out on penalties. Is there replays? No, there's not replays, is there? So it is 90 minutes or extra time. That's okay because I think then. It's about Wolves. Need to grow a pair. Agreed. Zuma, Pac-Man will improve us more. A lot of teams lost in the captain. Maybe. Ariana. I mean, I thought I'm not sure what his role is, but they cannot. Well, that's basically what he's sort of going to be doing. Plus, he's going to help identify the right players for West Ham as well, which I think is quite a cool idea. Centre back. I love you, Tommy. For me, actually, looking at the development of the academy, when I've spoken about it at quite length, because we're pretty up there. I've done the maths, I've done the stats. Moisey has brought it since the early since 1990. Let me bring you in. Wait.
I should have hit the withhold number.
Yeah, I know. What do you want?
Well, Freddie and I worked up and we logged on, and Freddie said he wanted to say something, didn't you?
Yeah.
Go on then, shout
Go on
it.
then, Fred.
Come on, you Irons!
Come on, you Irons! Very good, Freddie boy. Very good, Freddie boy. Come on, you Irons, indeed.
Right, have a good one.
All right,
Irons!
thanks. Cheers, Anton.
Right.
Anyway, as I was saying, so going back at Moisey, Moisey did, yes, it's 18 players. Now, granted, turn this off for a minute. In terms of going to being sort of, what's the excuse? Being sort of first team, Premier League debuts and stuff like that. But it's 18 players he's given from the academy a first team debut to. So, but then it's statistics in it. You can prove anything and disprove anything with statistics. But I know what you mean. I understand what you mean. Right. I'm gonna have to go in a minute. It might be me. It's a bit laggy. I do apologise. It's not worse than Anton's. It isn't worse than Anton's. It isn't. Not in the slightest. It's when I try and do too much on my computer. When I try and bring you the phone-ins and stuff as well. Spurs the only Premier team not giving us and not giving the academy a go. Wasted opportunity. But then we do have Declan Rice. Isn't he from the academy? Ben Johnson, isn't he from the academy? Granted, he's not playing at the moment. So it's. I mean, you probably go for the side Chelsea. Chelsea they got Mason Mount, Reece James, Conor Gallagher as well. Arsenal, they've got Saka, they've got Smith Rowe. Most teams have probably got one or two, I'd say, and we've got one or two. And as I said, I in the same way that's Man City will play the kids for the Carabao Cup. So did we for the likes of, the conference and stuff. Management Arnautovic, but oh Jesus! Keep that pose. Rush should be a model, and Anton take the photos. Anyway, it shouldn't. I mean, I apologise if it was a bit laggy. That's the trouble when I try and do too much stuff on my computer. I do apologise profusely. It's not your life. Well, no. I mean, I still got 65 megabytes. It's not too bad. Can't take all the credit for Rice. Well, we took him when he was 14, didn't we? And Chelsea didn't want him. We bought him and he came in. He played centre back, and was it Pellegrini or Bilic who moved him into CDM? So in the same way, we then can't take credit for people like Defoe and stuff like that. But going back through it, the likes of Redknapp. You've got to think he's brought in the people like Carrick and Cole. He was fortunate in that they were coming through. You look at Moisey, Dan Chesters, Okaflex, Longello, Ashby. They've all got these. They do all get these. But it's how they develop. It's how many games they then get. And I think we had Tim Breaker on a while ago, and he said, talking about kids, and it's not a function of just West Ham. It's a function of the under-23 league and how it doesn't work in comparison to something like the old combinations league, the reserve teams, where you're playing against better players and older experienced players. You don't get that with the under-23s. You still play with your age group, really. So you're not developing physically. Maybe you're developing the skills, but not physically. And as Tim Breaker, it was Tim, I think, Patsy Holland as well, said, you could go out and spend some money and develop the player, take them through the academy, take them through to the first team. That might take you a period of time. Or you go to France and buy somebody who's got 100 this young lad who's got 50, 60 first team appearances under their bag, because that's how the French league is set up and the Spanish league slightly differently. So it's not all a function of Moyes not giving people a chance. Granted, you think, and Tommy says, your likes of Alese, never really got a chance when actually we were crying out for a centre back. He's doing well at Sunderland at the moment. You look at someone like Josh Cullen, wasn't given time, wasn't going to get into the side at West Ham. It's taken him a different route, and hopefully he'll be a Premier League player next year if Burnley go up. He's playing very, very well. Conor Coventry's probably going to be very similar. He's going to have to drop down, I think, to get some good first team football. And that's always been the case. We've interviewed loads. I mean, don't forget we won the FA Youth Cup in 1999. It's only Cole and Carrick out of that side, I think, who actually went on to have a Premier League career, if I'm right in thinking. The likes of Adam Newton had to drop. We've had him on the channel. We had, and also people like Lee Hodges, Izzy Ickpen. These guys had, this was under Redknapp, these guys had to drop to the likes of Swansea, Scotland Thorpe, people. And that's even more so, I think, with the Premier League and all the money that, it's you're not going to, the kids aren't going to, and that's a detrimental effect to obviously England as well. Anyway, that's me waffling on too much. As I said, make sure, but why do the top six use their youngsters yet? We do not. Well, they use them, but they don't use, I think we all have, as I said, I think most teams have one or two which they'll use. Ray Houghton, great shout. Yeah, great shout. Ray Houghton, player who... let me just stop that. Stop screen shares for a while. Ray Houghton indeed. Did have a career at West Ham. Same as Tony Adams. Tony Adams was at West Ham. and never had a career at West Ham, and obviously went to have a fantastic career elsewhere at Arsenal and Portsmouth. I mean, you look at the sides. I mean, Spurs, Liverpool, Harvey. I would say Harvey Barnes is not his name. I'm trying to think who have Liverpool got. Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm trying to think their last game, who they have. So it is. I think we have this sort of assumption that we don't blood. I think the rate of what we do is similar, but it's not necessarily. I think we're always looking at us against everyone else. I'm looking for the side now, the side that started for Liverpool. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Elliot. Yeah. They started some youngsters. So before his contract issues, he was getting game time as well. If you look at the Man City team, Curtis Jones, that's three, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. What's his face? For Man City. I mean, Nathan Ake there to bring back at that level. He has to be at that. He's at that level. So Foden and Lewis came off as well. So it's similar levels, but you have to be up here to get into any side now. It seems the Premier. Marshall from Linfield, who's smashing it. Like Luis Al from Sao Paulo, he's going to go into probably under 23 squad, isn't he? So he's going to improve. Yeah, where we let someone like Elise go, who's then dropped down to the Championship to play with Sunderland. We've got in Louisa. Louisa might be brilliant, but then similarly we might get someone like a Gonzalo Canado. Same as Tony Martinez. He never really made it at West Ham. He's gone to Porto and made it. It doesn't make sense when you have good youngsters that you do not integrate some youngsters. They do, but Foden's a starter. Cole he's not a starter. Conor Gallagher's not getting a lot of game time. Reece James and Connor and what's his face? Reece James and Mason Mount, and then Conor Gallagher as the thirds. But anyway, we'll talk about the academy another day. Again, we did a few shows about that. Always plays from now, starts or gets subbed. Yeah, you're totally right. Longello's a Championship player, but not a Premiership player. I do apologise. There must be someone doing work on my road. But anyway, I'm going to go, guys. Take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay healthy. Don't forget, we've got Irish Tommy on tonight. So keep an eye out for that. Very, very, in about 20 minutes' time, we're putting out the synopsis of the Dave Moyes press conference. And later on this afternoon, we've got talking about the squad exodus ? Begins potentially, and then we'll have all the stuff for the FA Cup tomorrow. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay lucky, stay humble, keep the faith, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Ta-ta, my friends. Bye bye.
Good